Hey everybody, I'm Chris,
And I'm Adam.
and this is the Gamers Hall.
And today we're going to be talking about Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. But specifically, we're going to be talking about a specific subclass. And we want to talk about a few things that we find good about them, probably some things we find bad about it. And then we're going to talk about the roleplay value in those and what you can do in order to spice up the subclass a little bit or just add extra things to a campaign that a DM can use to create maybe a driving force for the campaign or add additional content. You know, give these
Yeah, or
characters flavor.
maybe the specific area that you're going to. The how's the subclass fit into this area that your players are about to adventure into.
Yeah. And we want to touch on a couple of ways that maybe this subclass can fit into different worlds, different campaign settings, because some of these are pretty spot on what campaign setting they fit in.
Yeah.
Some of them are not. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about our subclass, which will be Circle of
Wildfire.
And this is a really interesting one.
I almost feel like it's a mix between Life Cleric and Light Cleric.
A little bit with definitely other kind of flavors mixed into, and you get that summoning ability that a lot of people enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, you're a controller of energy. That's what this druid is about: is the access of energy in the world. Actual life energy, death energy. So that is fire.
It also hits on the fact of that fire can be life altering, but it can also be detrimental.
Right.
It hits on both aspects
destructive
really well.
And restorative properties of fire. We need fire to live, but if we get burned by fire, we can die. So it's a really cool balance. I love that idea, and I'm glad they put something like this in to really broaden what a druid can be.
Yes. So let's talk about the goods.
All right, the goods is you get a wildfire spirit. Second level, you can spend one of your wild shapes to summon this fiery creature, a fiery elemental, to you, and you can now use it as a bonus action every turn to make it do an attack or a type of movement which has a fiery teleportation.
Yeah. You have the flame seed, which is a ranged attack. You have the fiery teleportation. And then if you don't tell it to do anything, it dodges.
Yeah, it dodges. So it's got some good hit points.
It's got really good hit points.
5 plus 5 times your druid level.
Yep.
Which you have to keep in mind that as a druid, usually a wild shape tends to be more of a temporary hit points buff for you, where you can get into this ability and not get hurt as bad, especially if you're Circle of Moon. That's exactly what you're using it for. So you're giving up that ability to kind of split and make two entities. Although this one gives you more utility and a cooler effect, because that wildfire thing can look like anything. Like in the book, they have a little fox, a little fiery fox. So I mean, could look like whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to. It's fire, so it's formless. And this wildfire spirit bolsters your abilities.
Yeah, you really work. This subclass kind of works. A lot of the abilities work in tandem with the wildfire spirit.
Yeah.
So
without it being out, which it can only be out for an hour, you are still just a regular druid. So all this, one of the bad things is most of your stuff is focused around this spirit and it being there. Because if it's not, you're just a druid, which is not bad. Druids are actually pretty good. And
really good.
The circle spells it has are really good, actually.
Yeah, Burning Hands, Cure Wounds, Flaming Sphere, Scorching Ray, Plant Growth, Revivify
for a
Aura
druid.
of Life, Fire Shield, Flame Strike, and Mass Cure Wounds.
Yes. Pretty good. I mean, the
I'd say that's more than pretty good. That's really good. But, while this thing is out, any fire damage you do you at
That's
sixth level.
At 6th level.
Yeah, at 6th level, you're going to get an extra D8 of fire damage while this thing is while it's just out.
Just out. And also an extra D8 on any healing.
Yes. So all your healing and fire damage, which goes into your circle spells, they're all going to be boosted.
And you can originate it from the spirit.
Yep.
So you can do cure wounds from the spirit. You don't have to be in harm's way. You can go send your spirit out that already has 35 hit points to go touch your friend paladin that's holding back the
front line.
The front line, and you don't have to be anywhere near it. You just go over there. Save my buddy. Oh, by the way, the spirit has flying, in case you
30 feet.
That's pretty good.
And hover. I like that they specifically put hover in there, because if it doesn't say hover, then things don't have it.
Yeah,
by rule.
They
rules
have to
is
land.
written.
They have to land unless they are continuing to fly. So
that's for all you ASMR players out there.
yeah, you don't get to stay in the air, jerks. But 10th level ability, Cauterizing Flames. You can create a little. If something dies, you can create a little spectral flames using the energy that's left in their body to either heal or harm.
I see a lot of people. I don't see a lot of people using the damage of this. I think the damage for this is going to be very. I see it being used the least. I see people downing some creatures, the spirit granting the fire, and then you using the wildfire spirit to teleport your allies or yourself over to where the fires are to heal them.
Although I could see this being used if you're Assassin's Creed fan, when you place a bomb on a corpse after you've assassinated them or killed them in some way, and then waiting for somebody to come over the top of it and blowing it up. That'd be a pretty neat little thing to do. And Blazing Revival. Now, I love this ability.
Yeah, that is. It's really. It basically turns your wildfire spirit into a phoenix that comes by and gets you back up.
Yep.
You drop to 0 hit points. It as long as it's within 120 feet of you, it rushes over to you. You get half your hit points back
immediately and stand up.
Yeah,
and you're ready to go, ready and raring to go immediately.
Yep.
And you get it back after you finish a long rest. So every day you have a free get out of jail free card.
The bad is, I feel like the fiery teleportation is a little strong. Like, okay, I get it. You only get this spirit. You can do it twice because that's how many wild shapes you have, and it's 2 hours, but you get them back on a short rest. But this thing, you get an extra 15 feet of movement. It's teleportation movement, and it can not only take you, but you and your friends. And I mean, granted, for the players, that's going to be awesome. You're going to be getting out of really complicated situations. But I mean, I could see some DMs getting frustrated, like if they really wanted to lock some people down in a certain way, and now it's just, well, hey, like I've got a free, slightly worse Misty Step, but kind of slightly better in the aspect that it can take multiple people
and harm the thing that's near them.
Yeah. So, and like it can do it just every single round. And like I also see it like, hey, you know what? The paladin's up there. Let's teleport him behind the creature. That person's going to be taking damage, and it's also setting up. But tactically, it's great.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic, but I think it's just a little strong. I think it should be able to do that fiery teleportation a number of times equal to your proficiency modifier.
So rein it in a little bit.
I think that would, for me, I think that would be a lot better. It's like, hey, listen, this is great, but it shouldn't be an at will. I honestly think it should be reduced down to number of times equal to your proficiency modifier.
Okay. So
then the other thing I don't like is that I think the wildfire spirit should have vulnerability to cold damage. Because right now it doesn't have anything. It's just immune to fire, and I think it should be vulnerable to cold. How often is it going to come up? Not very often.
Not very often, but that one time somebody throws a cone of cold on there, and you go, "Oh crap! What?" That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, or at least have the the thing that the fire elementals have also, where if they travel through water, they take damage for however many feet. So if somebody casts Sleet Storm, they would be getting damage for going through that.
I could see that. Probably a little extra to put on a little stat block. A little bit too much, but definitely I could see that.
The cold damage, at least, I think it should have that.
I could see adding that into a campaign just a little bit.
Because it already gets a lot of hit points. Whenever you summon this thing, it's going to be hard to take it down.
Yeah,
because it's going to have a lot of hit points. Most of the time, it's going to be flying, so you're going to have to do some type of ranged attack. I think throwing the cold damage in there, I think it would be a better balance.
Okay,
but that's my that's my 2 cents on that. I mean, right. I'm sure other people have something. It could fit in so many settings.
Yeah,
Dark Sun, super easy.
Yeah,
pulling out the elemental spirits of the desert and the heat and that burning sun.
Yeah, you've connected to the world in a way that that it actually is. You could actually be healing the world in this way. Be pulling the essence where arcane users
turn the sun from being this destructive death thing to like, I'm just gonna borrow a little bit of that and use it to cure.
You could
Forgotten Realms.
I mean that the Red Wizards of Fae. I think you talked about. Failed experiment.
Yeah, they could easily be a failed experiment where they were trying to take the elemental flame and put it into somebody, and it didn't work out well, and that person eventually became a druid.
Also, if you're a house Lyrandar scion, where you actually have maybe access to a airship or one of their elemental galleons in a way, like where you can say, well, the flame element, the fire elemental that is bound to the ship, I actually can pull out of its control sphere, and then or where it's bound in the ship, and actually use it. I give it freedom, and it helps me. So now you have access to where you can weaponize the power battery of your own ship. Which, by the way, if you have your own airship, pretty awesome. Yeah. But I mean, it's another flavorful way of explaining how you use these elementals.
Okay, well, let's talk about the role-playing aspect of this.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Like, what's something you would do or have an idea for?
Well, I mean, you could definitely be a person that is unafraid of setting a place on fire. You wouldn't see that as bad at all. Like, well, it's just destroying it so it can regrow later. What's wrong with that? So you could play a somewhat evil character that doesn't realize they're evil.
Yeah.
You can go raise a village to the ground, and you just say, no, it's setting the place for more regrowth of new life. It's all got to be burned down at some point.
Yeah. I could definitely see a druid who actually uses the flames and will burn one tree and use the flames of that to heal a different part of the land.
Yeah.
Or aren't there actually some lands you have to burn down and then?
Well, I mean, agriculture. There's lots of times you actually burn out fungus that have popped up in crops, or kill an infestation of certain mites or whatever. Yeah. You're literally playing pest control at that point. But yeah, that would fit the druid. That's your job, is to rid the bad so new life can come.
Yeah, I could easily see a dragonborn who's red or gold and trying to harness their fire in different ways, and using this as they have a little pseudo dragon fire spirit.
Maybe you could play a genasi. A fire genasi.
Oh, that would be nice.
You actually play this wildfire spirit is actually not a separate entity. It is you putting your splitting yourself like fire tends to do.
Yeah.
So you would actually be, well, I'm using my own essence to create another self of me. So you could actually have a doppelganger version of you as the fire spirit.
What are some fictional characters that from like books or TV shows or movies that you think would fit this class?
Well, this one's a little bit of a stretch, but mostly because I thought about it because the little fox here, Naruto, you could have your own little fox spirit living in you that gives you extra energy, extra ability, which could explain why your fire spells are more damage, have more damage and whatever. So your Rasengan could be your flaming sphere that you push around, and it just does more damage because your fox spirit that's inside of you.
Oh yeah.
Also brings him back to life. Not really life, just gives him more ability to heal and recharge. So I mean that kind of fits a little bit. A little departure from the ninja, but plays more on the fox spirit version.
Right.
What's one for you?
I see two actually. I could easily see Lady Alessandra from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the red lady.
Yeah, because their thing was that they had the flames. They'd look into the flames and try and predict the future, and like everything was about the flames and fire.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that, but I could also see Dumbledore. Granted, Dumbledore is a wizard, but he had a phoenix, and there was literally one movie where the phoenix runs over to him, he claps up and grabs the legs, and is teleported. That's this fiery teleportation.
Yep. Yeah, and hey, the fly and the hover. I mean, if it's the phoenix, so
yeah.
There's lots of interesting ways you can play this class, and I don't think anybody would be against this being in the group. I don't see this being a detriment. It doesn't overpower any other class, and it doesn't really feel underpowered.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention, you can be a healer that still has good damage output.
Yeah,
that's a nice thing.
It's a great fit for the druid. It's definitely something the druid class needs is more of a balanced situation of going either way. It is very focused on the elemental being out, but druids have a lot of amazing abilities. If you guys aren't using them, their spells and stuff are just the utility, and by far one of the best spells in the entire game, Good Berry. Which, hey, flavor it as you actually feed people fire. When you summon Good Berry, there will seeds of fire that you hand to somebody, so you got to eat that.
They don't actually burn or anything.
Yeah, they don't burn. You play with
just
them.
like a little ember.
This is the energy you need to survive. Is this fiery moat?
Yeah, I could definitely see reflavoring a lot of spells. Using
spike growth is actually little tendrils of flame coming out of the ground.
Yeah, the fire is just like embering.
Yeah, a little burning field. So as they walk across it, they're burning themselves. You don't have to change the damage type to fire, but if it'd
still be piercing, it would just look like fire.
Yeah, in some situations that might not matter. The DM can go, yeah, sure, it's fire for right now. Who cares if the orcs are being pierced to death or burned to death? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things you can do, and everybody loves fire.
Everybody does like fire.
Except for Frankenstein's monster. He does not like fire.
Yeah, or trolls.
Trolls do not like fire. Except for a war troll does not give a fuck about it.
It's true.
He has plate armor to stop it.
But all right, so that's those were our thoughts about this subclass. If you guys like the content we're putting out, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Hit that bell.
Yeah.
So you know when we put out more videos.
What he said.
Yeah. And you probably should keep rolling those nat 11s. Because that's the most balanced of rolls.
1 and 1. I like it.
Yep. All right. See you guys.
Take care. Keep having fun.